Well, hello everybody. What is going on? We just finished the rumor mill. I went out, got myself a little haircut, and we're back. This is normally not how we do things over here. We like to separate it, maybe one video a day, max two. Don't want to just overdo it for you guys, but we're back discussing another signing or supposed signing anyway for Leeds United. Absolutely out of the blue once again. The 49ers doing something of which I think we're all kind of getting used to with them when it comes to just these absolutely out the blue signings, which I personally really, really like. It's still that anticipation that you kind of feel through the transfer window. And this is a big week for Leeds. It is a big week for Leeds going into it, in my opinion. That key conversation Daniel Farke had and mentioned in his press conference about it being him needing the bulk of his players in by the 7th, which is obviously a week and a bit, well, about 8 days away now. So Leeds United have not only got to go and meet that if that's what the gaffer wants, and he wants the players in place by that time to get the sustenance when it comes to the adequate training and of course getting to know the lads as well on I'm sure a personal level, getting to the families, all these other bits and bats that you don't see that go on behind the scenes that are big when it comes to football clubs and managers and cohesiveness, etc. Leeds have gone out there and Monday, midday, they look like they have agreed a deal, a really good deal as well by from what we're getting with this individual. Done a little bit of research on him, guys, and I've got a few bits to shell at you, what to expect. Interesting when it comes to what we're speaking about this morning as well. We're speaking about an individual, Igor Julio, who apparently Leeds United were after, the Brighton player. Leeds were after him, and effectively it was said to be one of which Leeds were going in and to bring another centre back who can fill in, who can fit in with what we want as well when it comes to maybe a back three. Igor can play in a back four as well. And you were thinking to yourself, okay, maybe Leeds United are going to go in now and do something where it is, looking and going toward more of a different system and gives you that variance. Now, the excellent thing about Sebastiaan Bornauw, who is the defender of which Leeds United are apparently, according to Graham Smith, apparently they've got him sorted on a medical term. Shout out to Graham, who also got the scoop as well when it came to the exclusive, which shout out to Graham Smith for that. It's been a window of which I think the Leeds journalists will continue to struggle because it feels like it's always broke from the European circuit. A little bit of detail on Bornauw. Stands at 1.91 meters, 6'3". Apparently, he brings an absolute imposing aerial dominance. And the interesting thing about the percentile, you guys know I'm absolutely obsessed with it when it comes to the level of which Leeds are looking when it comes to percentile and what we're trying to bring in when it comes to that sort of profile. Igor Julio was that profile, massive player. Farke apparently a big fan, but it appears they've gone for Sebastiaan Bornauw, who is very similar, averaging over four aerial duels, one per 90 minutes, putting him in the top 1% of centre-backs across Europe's top 5 leagues. Fantastic statistic there. He also ranks in the top 20% for interceptions, 1.37 per 90, and blocks, 1.6 per 90. Obviously showing willing in dangerous areas. So that's fantastic. And it seems like when we're looking at Goodmanson is very high on when it comes to blocks and when it comes to interceptions. Jacobiel is the exact same. So Leeds are basically preparing to be in low blocks. And I think something like this makes a lot of sense, really. We are looking at getting rid of Max Verber. He's going to go out. Obviously, that'll help when it comes to PSR reasons, of course. Someone like Bornauw coming in, from what you can see on the rumours when it's come to all of the comments about him, the sporting director at Wolfsburg was saying that his reliability, mentality, and technical skill is exceptional at this level. Said that he's a very, very important part of proceedings around about 2 years ago now. So yeah, it feels like what we're doing with this guy is we've filled a real blend of kind of what we're looking at when it comes to that word again, that style of player: height, physicality, dominance, aerial duels. So the physical demands of the Premier League feel like we've kind of met it again here when it comes to a centre-back region. I like the fact we're going for monsters. We hear all the time about how the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Manchester City are setting up for not only technical footballers, but they're setting up for physicality going forward. When you look at Arsenal in light of what I'm just talking about there, going forward with Kai Havertz having physically physically imposing strikers, physically imposing attacking players. You know, throughout the Premier League now, you're seeing this a lot more. You're seeing, I feel, teams going toward not just that technical level when it comes to players, but also really prioritizing physicality, aggression, and dominance up top. So there's a bit of variance in what they can do. There's pragmatism. There's 2 or 3 systems of which they can play maybe in game, and I think Leeds have got to get used to that. And bringing in a dominant centre back, someone who looks like, when it comes to the profile of Max Verber, who I feel was an aggressive, combative centre back, but maybe the reliance when Max came in was on his ball playing out from the back. It feels like his ball playing out from the back, ball orientation in terms of a centre back, obviously aggressive still, but it feels like someone like Sebastiaan Bornauw, when you're looking at the research behind him, is the technical level is there, but the aerial dominance, I mean, he's one of the best in Europe. So backs against the wall. This is what Leeds are going to have to get used to going into this brand new season in the Premier League. It is that. It is that. So the blend, it looks really nice. The statistics back up that it is a long-term and very cost-effective investment as well. Only 26 years of age, and it's 6 million euros, which probably equates to around about 4 million quid. All we've spoken about on this channel multiple times is, can Leeds go out and get players from the top 5 leagues? The top 5 leagues in Europe for good value. They've just done that again. You know, this guy looks like he's going to be rotation as well. And once again, now you've got Jacobiol, 6'3". Sebastiaan Bornauw, if we do get him in, medical next, 6'3". Pascal Strout, 6'4". Joe Rodon, 6'3". You are bringing in monsters who can deal with the physicality that is needed, who are also good football players as well. So it feels like an adaptable centre-back is what we're talking about. A resilient centre-back is what we're talking about. Someone who definitely could transition into that Premier League mould. It feels like we've done that again. So obviously he's got the medical coming up. Some concerns about his fitness, of which we've spoken about, of course. But the beautiful thing I think about him is he's got these tick boxes, of which I'm kind of happy with, to be honest with. And if he's focusing a little bit more, or Leeds are focusing a little bit more on rotation here, I don't mind it whatsoever. But comfortable on both feet, adaptable to operate anywhere in a back 4 and a back 3, of which he has done in his career. So yeah, updated. I think obviously it's around about 5.1 million quid. Apologies, the conversion from euro to pounds there. So interested to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. Let's have a quick look. Bobby says, look who he's most like on FB Ref. Ironic. Let me just have a quick look. FB Ref. Comparable. I'm doing this for you, Bobby. For your super chat, mate. Comparable. Sebastiaan Bornauw. Let's have a look. Let's have a look who he's comparable to, just to do the Bobby take. Okay, well, we'll get into some of his FB ref bits. We had a quick look before, but we'll get into what Bobby's talking about here. But yeah, as I say, it looks like it's kind of everything you want here. The aerials one is ridiculous. He is in the top bracket when it comes to aerials one. He is literally in the 99th percentile for that, which is fantastic stuff. Clearance is high as well. Blocks at medium level, interceptions high. Yeah, that looks good. Looks like another threat from the penalty box as well. Should we have a little game here? So we've got Nikola Milenkovic, who he's like, which I'm a big fan of Nikola Milenkovic. We've got Harry Maguire in there as well. If we're talking comparables on FB Ref here, we've got Kike Salas. We've got Lejeune as well at Rayo Vallecano. If you're aware, you're aware. Who do you think he's most likely? Who do you think he's most likely comparable to? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Yes, it's Charlie Cresswell. Charlie Cresswell is the number one. Connor, he missed 18 games last season with injuries. And that, to be honest, Jody, I think that is probably why you're looking at a cheap value. You're looking at someone who probably a little bit like Lucas Nemecha is one of those that Leeds United are thinking to themselves, right, if it is rotation and if we can get him to a certain level, then he's going to be coming in. But I don't know what we're losing here, mate, to be honest. We're going to be it's going to be decent on PSR when Max leaves, depending on the value that we're looking at with him. It seems like from Graham's article, we're quite confident for getting a decent PSR valuation when it comes to Max. If Max is to leave, Sebastiaan Bornauw is to come in, then you are looking at a decent replacement there. Look at how much Max was missing last year. You know, if you're able to bring someone in who is elevated in terms of those things that we want from a centre back when it comes to the aerial dominance, when it comes to being effective in a low block, when it comes to being good technically as well, which it appears that he is according to several reports. You're looking at all of these factors, there is going to be like a little bit of a downturn when it comes to certain aspects of it, and it probably is going to be the injury record. But for 5 million quid, if you're to replace Max Verber, if he's just going to be rotation, and then there's he's probably going to be fourth centre back in there, I don't think it's anything bad. It is Cresswell. It is Cresswell. Yeah, yeah. Bada bing, bada boom. But as we said, people beforehand, we're speaking a little bit earlier on about Igor Julio, the Brighton centre back, and that being a rotation option, and how it would make sense for Leeds United if we want to go from a 3 to a 4 at the back. He's comfortable in either on that left hand side. The really good thing here is we've gone for another centre back, and I didn't expect it, but it kind of makes sense when you look at that 4. So that to me says Max Verber's departure is imminent. It could even be back to Wolfsburg. Could even be not back to Wolfsburg, but to Wolfsburg. So yeah. So it looks, previous clubs, Anderlecht, Cologne, Wolfsburg, all viewed him as a technically strong, mentally reliable defender. At 26, he's entering his prime with 178 senior club appearances and 4 caps for Belgium. No mug if you get caps for Belgium in their current setup. Newly promoted sides often concede heavily. These are a few notes from the YEP here. Leeds prioritised defence early in the window. Signing Beal, now Bornauw. Like it a lot. But yeah, the summary of him seems to be aerial dominance, strong defensive stats, technical and positional flexibility as well, back 3, back 4, experience at the top level, top 5 league as well, long-term and cost-effective investment, as I say, 6 million euros outlay with 4 years on the clock. So it looks like today's medical is designed to confirm fitness. Reports suggest he's faced minor injury issues last season, but Leeds should factor that into their pre-season plans. And I've just put a little bit of a note here. In short, it feels like Bornauw addresses Leeds' need for a resilient, adaptable centre-back and arrives at smart age and price. And if he passes the medical, once again, he should immediately boost Leeds' stability in the back line. D'Souza moving from Wolfsburg from Sheffield United, but I thought they were getting 30 million for him. This is what I mean. Sometimes you overvalue players. I think it's like 13 million quid as well, isn't it? So, morning, Connor. Is this a signing? Looks like it, Denise. Yeah, when he passes the medical, which I'm sure he will do, because Leeds will have factored that in. Looks like it's going to be another signing for Leeds United. Oi says, another player who loves a header in both boxes. Love this. I think Oi's bang on the money as well. I think what we've got to look at here is, look, guys, I think what we've got to do sometimes, I'll be brutally honest with you, I see a lot and I understand it. I get football subjective. But I think the natural reaction to Leeds signing a player who isn't top tier level and a £40 million sign is, he's rubbish. What is it? What's going on with him? Jacobiel's too slow. Nemetja's had fitness issues. Bornauw is nowhere near good enough. He's not going to be able to play 38 Premier League games. But how I'm looking at it is I'm taking a step back. And even when I've not heard of these players, I think I've got a good database of knowledge up here and I can talk about a lot of players. Sebastiaan Bornauw is not one that I'm familiar of, so I've had to go do a bit of research before this video. But when you're kind of looking at his attributes and looking how he'll fill in as a rotation option, once again, you've got to bulk out that squad. I like it. I think he fits exactly what and we've said this before, when we last went up, and we can go into specific detail, I don't think a lot of what Leeds did was smart business. I think we're all excited by it, but when we first went up, I don't think it was smart business. I think there was a lot in there where you looked at it and got giddy 100%, but it was our first time in the Premier League in 2 decades. But the profile of player for me was a very maybe 50-50 split in terms of what we actually needed. We can go through that whole squad and say, look, we could have done better there, we could have done better there, we could have done better there. Well, okay, that was a good signing, but we could have done better there. I think a lot of them this season in the Premier League makes sense. Nemetja for me makes sense. Look, let's hope he's not the second striker, but if the second striker is Peru, fantastic. Nemetja is a profile of player we don't have. We do not have a player of that ilk. So it's a good signing because you're bringing in someone who can help you in the transition, can help you on the counter-attack. You're looking at Jacobiel, Leeds' number 1 target. Leeds go out and get him. Okay, fantastic. Could, in my opinion, could probably, and this Newcastle were interested as well. Tried to get him at the end, but Leeds managed to secure it quickly, which was good. Newcastle were interested, Villa were interested, and apparently Brighton was sneaking round as well. So we've clearly got a very good player there as well. Leeds' number 1 target. This has come out of absolutely nowhere. Which suggests to me that this is something that maybe the Niners have been working on. something that Nine's been working on in the background, and it's a cheap deal. Once again, 5 million quid. 5 million quid. And if you are replacing Max Verber, who has not really been available for Leeds this season, let's say worst case scenario, Sebastiaan Bornauw is, let's say he misses a chunk of next season, right? Missed a chunk of next season. It's very similar to what we had with Verber anyway. Verber was barely available whatsoever last season. I feel Bornauw, Leeds wouldn't have made this acquisition in the Premier League if he is just an injury case. The amount of games he's played suggests that he isn't across his career. So I think this is another low risk signing, low value as well. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it as well. Some reports suggest he can play in multiple positions as well, midfield. But I think what I said there is perfectly right. Leeds, and look, this statistic, and me and Benjamin Bloom were talking about this. This statistic is very much based on the amount of set pieces you have, of course, in the attacking box. And when you look at Ipswich and you look at Leicester, when you look at Southampton last season, they didn't have as many set pieces because they're not attacking as much as, let's say, a Man City, an Arsenal, and a Liverpool, right? Okay, they're not attacking as much. They're not going to have as many set pieces. The good thing about this, though, is when you are looking at those clubs in particular, even with the amount of set pieces they scored, Ipswich scored a large amount of set pieces in the Championship. They just weren't able to do it in the Premier League. And I think there is a real way of which, when you look at the 6 teams that have gone up and they've gone down in the last 2 years, I don't think they've really attacked that set piece bracket enough. And we all know that there's so many good set piece takers and so many good players in offensive areas and defensive areas in the Premier League. But if Leeds can move that dial a little bit, if we can get incrementally better at that gives us a massive chance of staying in the Premier League. If you're able to be solid at the back, but if you're able to, do really well when it comes to set pieces, which Luton did a reasonably decent job with Alfie Doherty and the likes of Adebayo in there, Bell in there, Carlton Morris in there in the Premier League. If Leeds are able to just bring that incremental value of set pieces to another level, that's going to give us a massive chance. So I do quite like that. Yeah, I think that would be a nice, and I just like the type of player that we're going for there, and I think we really missed out on that last time. Guys, there's nearly 900 of you in the building on a very impromptu stream. If you haven't checked out the video from earlier on, I will link it in the description below, but it looks like Leeds are closing on Sebastiaan Bornauw, the 3rd summer signing of the window. But yeah, let's rack up those likes. 900 likes would be absolutely amazing. I know some of you will come back to this. Some of you will be watching this on your lunch break, of course. Let's go through a few of your comments. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. This guy is a sick note. There we go. The first one. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. But yeah, I think probably the only frustrating thing is maybe the Cresswell thing, because he's comparable in terms of statistics. But when you look at Cresswell in comparison to Bornauw, there is much more experience at the top level. So we can talk about Cresswell, we can talk about this, that, and the other. Look, we all thought Cresswell went for a lower value. You've got Sebastiaan Bornauw coming to Leeds for about 5 million quid. He's 26 years of age, and he's played a mass amount of times in the top leagues, for Cologne, for Anderlecht, and obviously for Wolfsburg, but in particular, Cologne and Wolfsburg. So yeah, I don't mind it. And will they feature is going to be the question. If they're fit for 50, 60% of the season, both of them, that's probably going to be absolutely fine. They could even be 15-minute plays. I keep saying this, guys. We have to bring the whole squad level up. This cannot just be a case of Leeds United bringing in starting 11 players. They've got to bulk up that squad. They simply have to do it. So the cold, harsh reality of it is he played 15 times last season. Farke knows him well. And something to bear in mind as well when you're kind of looking at this as well, Newcastle are closing on James Trafford. So I think, I keep saying this, I think there is going to be... I think there is going to be a Nick Pope signing. This is what I think is going to happen. I've thought that. And do you know what? Someone's just put on my Twitter, Big Bastards FC. And I think that's great. I'm fine with that for the first season in the Premier League. These are the players that we have to be targeting for me. The physically, dominant players. And like I said, Igor Julio earlier on the link was really good. Can play right back in an emergency. And yeah, I don't think it's anything. I wouldn't want all of us to just be turning around and go, "Oh my god, it's a bit of a fluff." This. It's just an undercover signing of which He looks like a monster. And now you can move towards a back three, but then you've got Pascal Struijk. You've got, if you've just joined everybody, Struijk, Rodon, Biol, and Bornauw. None of them are below 6'3". When have we had that since? Llorente was six foot. 100% he was 6 foot. I remember he used to go, oh, he's 6'2". No, he's not. He's nowhere near him. I met him in person. I shook his hand once. He was not 6'2". Robin Koch is a big boy. He's a big boy. And I liked Robin. We mentioned this earlier on. But and Strout was in the building there as well, of course, wasn't he? But a four-pronged centre back four like that, I think is the new age of the Premier League. Is the new age of the Premier League. And I'm a massive fan of the fact that he's a technically good player as well. I think that's important. This guy can play midfield as well. Oren says, I love this from Leeds United, building a monstrous, physical and aerially dominant line as a foundation to build off the back of the window is what we need for the Premier League. And what did we say, Oren? What did we say, mate? Build from the back. Most important position is the goalkeeper. Hugely important. Leeds might be just waiting for a few things to fall down, a few little domino effects. Nick Pope. And then you've got Nick, if you do Nick Pope, you've got Nick Pope, this ball now. I mean, Nick Pope's what, 6'5", 6'5", 6'6", 6'5", 6'6". You got him, Biol, Bornauw, Struijk, Rodon. I mean, you're looking at some monsters here as well. Goodmanson's over 6 foot. If you do go and get him, there might be an alternative there as well. You've kind of got to overcompensate as well for the fact that the midfield is small. We have a small midfield as well. Got to bear that in mind. So whether or not they actually are looking for, someone like a Sean Longstaff as well, 6'1", 6'2", runner, tall, effective in boxes, decent defender when it comes to aerial duels as well, if we're looking at that side of things as well. So let's have a quick look at what some of you guys are saying. Pope 6'6", there you go, another one. Afternoon, Conrad. How you doing, MW? Good to see you in here, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see Tommy K, the biggest Leeds hater in the building. Everybody give Tommy K some love. Pope is not leaving Newcastle. There you go. Official from Tommy K. Some of the comments on here, it must be hard not to buy Connor sometimes. I'm used to it, mate. I'm used to it. Connor, would you be happy with both Hamer and Siddiqui? Siddiqui, I like. Siddiqui, I like. Yeah, I think maybe there's a conversation with Siddiqui of obviously being 10 million euros. Maybe there is a conversation like we've just spoken about the physicality side of things. His passing stats aren't incredible. His progressive passing stats aren't incredible either. Diarra's are better. So obviously when we're just comparing those two, but I do like what Siddiqui brings 100%. Hamer, I'm just a big fan of Hamer. I think he's completely overlooked because, I don't know, he's played more in the Championship. I think there's a real player there. I think there's a player who's done it in the Premier League before as well. He's scored more Premier League goals than Brendan Aronson. Do you know what I mean? And he's a better player than Brendan Aronson all ends up. So if you're improving, if you're upgrading, you've got people want Premier League proven players. He's done it in a Sheffield United side that's conceded 104 goals. Do you know what I mean? So a terrible Sheffield United side in the Premier League who just lost, Iliman Ndiaye and Sander Berge. So yeah, I think someone like Hamer in a good team would be very good. But I don't know. I don't think Leeds will go down that route. I've just not got a feeling. I've got a feeling they won't. Perry is 6'6" as well. Yeah, we're speaking about the goalkeeper this morning, the Leon goalkeeper who leads a link with 6'6" again. Leeds fans, Leeds make no signing complain. Then we sign someone complain. This is what I mean. Nemetra is tall. He is JBL. Yeah, I think he's about 6'2". So yeah, Lee, I've got a fan on here, mate. I've got a fan on. Don't worry. But yeah, I think there's a real way of which Leeds can do this. There's a real way of which we can go down with this. And I thought it would be a Sebastiaan Bornauw, but as I keep saying, the Julio links this morning and was been linked to him over the weekend. I was going to do a video on him yesterday. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense now because it's kind of that sort of profile of player. So yeah. Neil, is he better than what we've got? Have you seen much in play? I haven't, mate. I can't profess. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've not seen anything of Sebastiaan Bornauw. These are just the reports that I was doing before. A little bit of a collection of bits and bats. I've seen, we've just collected before the video started here, just doing a bit of research. I've got a good football database, mate, but I've not seen every single footballer play, and Bornauw isn't one of which I've said to you guys before. I'm a big lover of Serie A. I can't profess to watch too much Bundesliga, to be honest with you. Watch the odd bit, but so yeah. Wayne says, if we play a low block, we need passing centre backs that can start the counter. Bornauw is a smart signing. Agreed, man. Agreed. Haven't Burnley not back 27? Yes, but apparently they're advancing on negotiations. Newcastle will get that one done. They'll get that one done. I'm certain of it. But I wonder, though, with the signings that we're getting, and obviously it depends. It very, very much depends on what's going on, of course, in terms of Leeds getting this one through the door. I think we're going to go to a back three. I think we're going to go to a back three this season. What do you guys think? And I know, look, notoriously managers don't change the system. I know they don't. I think with the type of player Leeds are going for, I think we go to a back three. I think with Strauch in there, you've got somebody who's comfortable on that back three. Beal has played in the back three before as well. Joe Rodon, I think, would work well because his distribution's got a lot better this season, in my opinion. I think he'd work well in the back three. You cover yourself a lot more as well, especially if you're playing like a 3-4-3. You bring back you let's say hypothetically Gabriel Goodmanson, we get him in, and you Bogle, you bring them back into a back five when you're defending. Could you even get another player in there just to help Bogle in, who fits this athletic mold, this physical, aerial dominance mold that we're clearly going for? A midfielder as well who fits that mold as well. As I say, I'm absolutely buzzing with Big Bastards FC. That's absolutely fine with me. We need a player who can play football, of course. But it's all about developing your squad, not just your starting 11. But I think we're going to go to a back three. That's what I think we're going to do. And it would be crazy because it's moving away from what you know, but at least building a back three into your style. You can, as I always use him as an example, everybody, Thomas Frank, who fluctuates between a 4-3-3 and a 3-5-2, dependent on the teams that he's playing up against. So if Leeds are able to do that, it just screams back three. The profile, it is a back three for me. B Quirky says, does he sign in all but confirm Strauch? Absolutely not, B Quirky. This means for me that Verba's out the door. Yeah, Verba's out the door. This is pretty much confirmed anyway. Yeah, so I think that's how it's going to go. Let's have a quick look, see what a few of you guys are saying as well. Sunderland nearly 30 mil on Diarra. Okay, they jumped in front of us to get in, but how can they get more big players in where we can spread the wealth? On a strong squad. Michael, if you're saying there, if you're asking me, mate, why we've not gone on a deal, we spoke about this morning, mate. Diarra and Tanaka, as much as I like, Diarra, when you look at him in comparison to Ampadu and Tanaka, Joe Bellingham left, right? Habib Diarra is a little bit more of a box-to-box, in my opinion. He's a bit of an all-rounder in the midfield as well. When you are looking at Leeds United's midfield now, the double pivot, if we are playing, let's say we stick to a 4-2-3-1, or even if we move to a 3-4-3, or if we move to a 5-3-2, right? And what I mean there is like a 3-5-2, but you push the fullbacks back, which goes into a 5, and you've got a compact 3, okay? Compact midfield 3. That is where I could see someone like Diarra maybe working. But depending on what Farke does, very much depends on what Leeds United do. So if Tanaka and Ampadu are the starting double pivot, you've got a captain and then Leeds' best player. Okay, I think Ampadu is a Premier League footballer. Tanaka is an exceptional footballer. So Leeds stopped at 23 million. There is a reason Leeds stopped at 23 million. Sunderland should and did go for 30 million when it came to Diarra. It made a lot of sense. Job's gone. Need a little bit more box to box. Diarra makes a hell of a lot of sense. Leeds didn't have that gap. So why are we going to go and spend that money? We're not going to go and spend that money. Very dependent on if we change formation, of course, but you are not. I don't think the priority for Leeds United right now is displacing Ethan Ampadu in this team, taking the captain out of your team. You're never taking Tanaka out. So are you trying to improve Ampadu? I'd like Diarra because it's an option, but it's not a must. It was never a must for me. Never, ever a must. People may say that's copium. That's absolutely fine. I've been very transparent on my streams. I like him. I'd have had him in. I had him in my 6 picks. But yeah, it wasn't a must for me. Mark says, what's worrying me is none of these signings have Prem experience. Okay, that's fine, Mark. What I'll say, mate, is it's the 30th of June. What I will say as well, mate, is I've always said this. Why is that preferential? You know, when Brentford, have a look at these because we do on the channel a lot. When Brentford and Brighton go out and acquire signings, is there filter to have Premier League proven experience? I don't know where that comes from, Mark. I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't know where that comes from. If you have the attributes and you've played in the top 5 leagues before, Brighton have this incredible scouting network of which, they'll pick up players from the Greek and Venezuelan second division and they'll score 30 goals. That's fair enough. But I think the basic scouting profile for Leeds United and teams in the Premier League, unless they're exceptional outliers, is top 5 league experience or top 5 league, top 5 league recent experience for me. I think that overrides Premier League experience. I really do, because I think Premier League experience, you've got to be really, really careful in terms of going out and getting a player and it being good value and good for wages as well. If there's a wage structure and it's absolutely out of this world, we're talking about Souček not long ago. If you're looking at someone like Souček, as a lot of Leeds fans wanted a little bit earlier on in the window, and I thought, to a certain extent, he'd have been a good sign. I was mentioning this a little bit earlier on, but then you kind of really go into the detail of it. 90 grand a week. He'd cost Leeds 15 million quid. So you've kind of got to, and he'll want a long contract, someone like Souček as an example. So you build that into the contract that he's in. So it's not just going to be a 15 million pound signing. You've then got all the added bits that he wants on it. You've then got to consider the fact that at 30 years of age, he's on a decline. I'm not saying you're saying Souček, mate, at all. Of course, I'm not. You might be saying someone like Sean Longstaff, and I'd probably agree with you there. But there's a lot of murmurs about this Premier League experience thing. And I think going abroad, but scouting really, really well is where you don't get ripped off and you can get a lot of talent. But when you do look at the domestic side of things, that's why you get someone like Rodrigo Muniz at 40 million quid. That's why it's the Prem experience. So you've got to be really, really aware. And we were just speaking about Sunderland, weren't we, a couple of minutes ago? And a lot of people are saying that Sunderland have started really well. They were looking at Marcin Bulka. That didn't come to fruition. They're looking at Armand Loriente. He hasn't got Premier League experience. They're looking at Habib Diarra. No Premier League experience there either, So I think it's really, really difficult to just go out and get Premier League experience and blow a lot of your money on him. You've got to be careful. You've got to balance the risk versus reward. And you got to think as well, if you've got someone like Bornauw who can play multiple positions as well. And do you know what? Guys? I'll take you back to the recruitment. Take you back to the recruitment. Who's been the best player in the Championship this season? Who's the best player in the Championship season? Al Tanaka. Where did we get him from? How much money? Okay, so it's not always the Premier League experience that we need. This guy's completely outshone everybody in the Championship. Declan Rice has come out and said that he can't wait to play against him. We picked him up from 3 million quid. He'd just been relegated. So, yeah. What about Goodmanson? Nothing yet, Sophie. But once again, he fits that mold again, doesn't he? Top 5 league. Brendan says, will we even have a left back for the Man U game? Brendan, what? Well, I think so, mate. It's gonna be a big week. It's gonna be a big week, buddy. Yeah, like I said, Sunderland. All of these rumors, all of them, where there's been kittens on social media. 4 of the rumors might have slipped into around about 8 or 9 days, but 4 of the rumors have all come in a week. Probably less than a week, 5 days. I was away, and then there was Marcin Bulka, there was Armand Loriente, there was Habib Diarra, and there was Reinildo, okay, who we were interested in. All of those 4 have come within about 4 or 5 days, max a week, in my opinion. That is how quickly things could turn around. You're not even at your lunchtime box yet. I'm not either, by the way. Not even at the lunchtime box, and Leeds have signed a player on Monday. This is all you could have asked for, all you could have asked for. And then we'll wait and see what happens. We'll wait and see what happens next. Rotation player. Shout out to you, Dill. Thanks so much, buddy. Good to see you in here, pal. Let's have a look what you guys are saying as well. But yeah, I think let's, I don't. This is bad, guys. I really don't. A little bit of a rotation signing. Nice. Looks like you can play along that back line as well. But yeah, guys, we will leave it there. We have nearly 1,000 of you in the building so far, everybody. We get a lot of you coming back, which is why I'm going to end it here because it's already been about 2 hours worth of content. If you didn't check the video out from earlier on, everybody, we spoke about so many more links this morning, which could come to fruition. So you should go and check that video out from this morning. So make sure you check that out on your lunch break or whatever, wherever you are after this. It is well worth it. We had a fantastic session this morning on the rumour mill. Share this with your friends. If your friends don't maybe know that much about Sebastiaan Bornauw, I'd really appreciate it. Absolute pleasure once again with all you One Leadsers, and I'll be back maybe this evening, but maybe tomorrow morning. But that's why you have to keep the notification bell switched on and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Conor McGilligan here. I'll put timestamps in the room mill from earlier on as well. Absolute